Okay, good evening everyone, and thank you very much for joining our parent webinar this evening. For those of you that don't know me, in person, as it were, albeit virtually, my name's Jeremy Kerrs, I'm the principal here. We're really delighted to have you with us this evening. We appreciate it's such a challenging time, isn't it, in the current climate for all of us, and it's so important that we're able to continue to work together really closely, and that's really what the purpose and the value of having this time together this evening is all about. We're very proud of so much of what we do here at Plumpton, and not least our students, of course, who we miss having here massively. But also, the support that we provide them. We pride ourselves on that support, and in these challenging times, that support is more important than ever before, and comes in a whole variety of different means, whether that be financial support, whether it be learning support, whether it be support in terms of accessing your lessons, or just support in terms of checking in and making sure they and you are okay. And that's really why we've decided to structure this evening's webinar around two of those really important parts of support. And I'll hand over shortly to Steph Heath, our Learning Technology Manager, to take you through how our Microsoft Teams pages work. Not because we expect you to be logging on every 5 minutes and accessing all those great virtual lessons, but just so you have an idea of what we're asking your son or daughter to do, so that you can help us to help them to do just that. Before I hand over to Steph, though, just a couple of things I wanted to talk to you about. Alongside the support that we provide our students, and the fact we think our students are just great, one of the other really important ingredients to ensuring their success whilst they're here is our relationship with you. Many of you would have heard me talk about this before actually the start of this academic year, back in the summer last year at our parents' welcome event. And I always like to call it the three-way relationship, that happens between the college, the student and their parents and guardians. And the reason why we place so much emphasis on that relationship with you is because we know that if we're all joined up and we're all pulling in the same direction, that can have a huge impact on our students, your students, your sons and daughters' success here. At the heart of that relationship, of course, is communication, and we've upped the ante, and I know that many of you recognise that. Thank you for a lot of your positive feedback in terms of the communication that we've engaged in with you this year, in terms of our letters and newsletters and the other pieces of information we've been sharing on our website and on social media channels. And I would just urge you to continue to keep an eye on our comms, but also to keep asking the questions of us. Don't ever hesitate to get in touch. I've valued the contacts that I've had with many parents and guardians over the last few weeks, and as I said, we're keen to be able to provide as much help and support to our students, but also you as their parents and guardians as well. And secondly, in terms of that relationship, it's not just about maintaining those communication channels with the college. We ask you to back us up, really, in terms of our expectations of the students. We hope that you have high expectations of us as a college. We certainly have high expectations of ourselves. But as you know, of course, we also have high expectations of our students. And we just asked you to mirror our expectations of them, because we're all here for the same reason. We want them to continue to be amazing, to learn and progress and develop as people, in terms of all those wider skills, as well as the all-important vocational skills and knowledge as well. And the one part of those expectations we have of our students that I'd ask for your greatest amount of support with is in relation to their attendance. Hopefully, that's something we take very seriously here. We have extremely high expectations of, because we know that there is a very strong link between the extent to which students attend their course and their lessons and how successful they are. It sounds simple, but the more a student attends, the more successful they generally are on their course. And that then, as we know, sets them up for next year, future years, and in many respects for the rest of their lives. So attendance is very important to us because we want the best for our students. And therefore we ask that you support us in ensuring that our students are attending their lessons, please, virtually for their main qualification and for things such as English and maths. It's also important in terms of their future employment. One final message for me before I hand over to Steph relates to looking ahead really on what comes next. And as I said, we'll keep you abreast of those developments as soon as we're clearer ourselves. I believe the government have come out today, the Education Minister, and said that schools and colleges will be given 2 weeks notice, which feels like a real luxury, I have to say, compared to some of the challenges and restraints that we've worked with in the last few months. But 2 weeks notice of any plans to reopen. Obviously, at the moment, we know we're definitely shut to students until February half term. All of our students are being taught virtually, and we have the capacity to maintain that for longer should we need to. As soon as we know, I'll be writing to you and we'll be posting updates, as I said, on those usual website and social media channels. A quick one on assessments. We had to cancel those exams. I believe it was the right thing to do for our BTEC and our City and Guild students in terms of not expecting them to come in during a national lockdown. And there is currently a consultation that the government have launched with awarding bodies and colleges on what those assessments will be for our students for the rest of the year. So as it currently stands, we don't know whether there'll be opportunities to resit exams. There might be in the summer term, there might be other forms of assessment that replace those exams. Again, the most important messages here are that as soon as we know, and I would like to think that we will in the next 2 to 3 weeks, we'll communicate that with you and our students. But in the meantime, one thing I know that some of the awarding bodies have announced is that students must continue to work on their assignments. Their engagement, their attendance and their work on their assignments is all likely to count at the end of the year. So it's really important that we're all joined up and on the same message in that respect as well. I'm happy to take some more questions, as I know Steph is throughout the course of this evening's webinar, so please feel free to continue to ask them and we'll set some time aside at the end. Otherwise, we're also very proud of the fabulous work that our learning technology team and our teachers and our students do in relation to their virtual learning, and I'm very pleased therefore to hand over to Steph. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. So I'd just like to start by saying as well, reiterating Jeremy's point, that we're so proud of the way that both our staff and our students have adjusted to online learning. It's a new experience for us all, with the use of Microsoft Teams. So also our students have had full training and support with Microsoft Teams and accessing our college systems from both their progress coaches and from their dedicated personal tutors. But this is an opportunity for us to share with you, our Plumpton College parents and guardians, how to access Microsoft Teams. So if you bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to share my screen and I'll guide you through it. Now it might just take a moment to appear on your screen, so bear with me 1 second. There we go. So I'm now going to talk you through accessing our student homepage. So first of all, you could type in plumptononline.ac.uk in your browser here to access our main homepage, or you could visit our Plumpton College website and click on the VLE icon on this top toolbar here. In addition, you could search on Google for Plumpton Online and click on the top search result here. Now we're going to have an overview here of the student homepage, As a further education student, you need to click on the left-hand icon, the student homepage here. As you can see, you're then brought through to some handy icons to guide you through all of our college systems. I'd like to bring your attention to our new student induction page for this academic year. So I'll just click to give you a guided tour. If we scroll down through this page, you'll see some handy information regarding the student enrolment journey, how to access all of your logins, and a really good virtual tour of our College Plumpton campus as well. And again, information about our library access and general IT access for devices. Now back to our main student homepage. As you can see, we have different icons here for our college systems, from our library catalogue to our student policies. If you do have any questions about devices or login issues, then you can click on this icon in the bottom right-hand corner for VLA support. In addition, if you do have any problems with access to laptops, then just report that here. We're going to proceed into Microsoft Teams, so that's the top left-hand icon. You'll be asked to sign in with your standard college credentials, and then you'll see all of your current courses in your main dashboard here. We're going to start off by clicking on this main training course here on the left-hand side. Now it's important to note that you can download for the full user experience, you can download Microsoft Teams using this bottom left-hand icon. It's really important that students access all of their lessons and their lesson resources using a laptop. Now there is an option to use an application using a smartphone or a tablet, but the user experience is completely different. So you have to have a working laptop in order to participate with your assessments and your online lessons. Again, if you do have any problems at all, then please report that to us. Now, in terms of accessing your online lessons, at the bottom of the page here, you can see that lesson 3 is taking place. And all I need to do as a student is click to join that lesson. Now, as part of that lesson, my tutor might instruct me to raise my hand to ask any questions. They might ask me to add some questions into the chat icon, or I can also engage in breakout activities as well. In terms of accessibility features, there's a built-in Immersive Reader throughout the Teams platform. I'm going to give you a guided tour of that today. In addition, you can convert live speech into captions as well. So let's go through this general post tab. If I scroll up here, you can see updates from my tutor, any important notifications, and the student can also click and ask questions and just type to reply. If I scroll up more, you can also see new assignments that have been assigned to my class and recent lesson resources. We're now going to proceed into the Files tab. Your tutor may instruct you to view the Files tab for class materials or for collaborative projects. Again, you can click onto the class materials folder and view any recent uploads. Now we're going to click onto the class notebook area. Now this will be the main area for lesson content. The first page that students will see is the welcome page. Now tutors may add useful course criteria here or signposting information and contact information. The first step is to click on this top left-hand icon to reveal the navigation menu. Again, the tutor may instruct the student to visit the collaboration space if they want students to engage with other learners and collaborate on the same project. We're going to proceed into the content library. As you can see, I have all of my units ready to go in terms of my lesson resources. I can then click to access lesson 1, and I can view all of the information about lesson 1 on the right-hand navigation. I can then scroll down to review any lesson resources and to read them in more detail. Now, as I said about accessibility features, there's a built-in Immersive Reader. We can simply click on the Immersive Reader. It'll take a moment to load, and then as a student, I can adjust my settings according to my preference. So as you can see, it's converted the text for me. I have a nice blue colour overlay, but I can click on my text preferences. I can change the size of the text or increase the spacing, and I can change the colour overlay if I prefer. You can also translate the text into a different language and change your preferences on this right-hand side. Now we're going to return to the main class notebook section. The final area that I'd like to draw your attention to today is that once your student enrolls onto a course, you can see here that I have my own personal workspace. So the tutor may instruct the student to add some homework notes or to respond to some handouts. And as a student, I can just click in this area and I can write notes for myself, or I could draw, or I could record audio. Now, again, the tutor and progress coaches will be able to guide students through this process. But as Jeremy said, it's really important if students are instructed to create a portfolio of work, that they can use this area to make their own notes, and they can use this as part of their evidence at the end of the course. Now, finally, we're going to review the Assignments tab. Let's click on Assignments. Now, I can see which assignments I have due to complete and those that I've already completed. I can click on my new assignment, and then I can click on the top right-hand corner to submit my work. Or, as I mentioned earlier, you also have the built-in Immersive Reader icon here to then read the instructions of your assignment out loud. We also finally have the Grades tab. Once work is reviewed, all of the grades will be stored in this handy area. So finally, I'd just like to show you this left-hand navigation area. We have the handy chat feature. So this is an area that maybe tutors will contact their students directly, or you'll see recent updates in terms of assignments and lesson resources. In addition, there's a built-in calendar feature, so we can see that lesson 3 is taking place right now, and I can also click to join, or I can see my previous lessons that have been scheduled throughout the week. Finally, we have the Assignments tab on this left-hand side. The great thing about this area is if I'm a student on multiple pages, so for example, my core module and then English and Maths pages as well, I can see all of my assignments in one handy area. And finally, that Teams icon on the bottom left-hand side. For an overview of all of my Teams pages, I just need to click on All Teams on the left-hand corner. So just as a quick recap then, as a student, I can click on the Teams page here, and then I can join a scheduled meeting, and I can see any relevant posts in the Post tab. The class notebook is then the main area for lesson resources, and again, your tutor will guide you through this area and the units that they want you to visit after each lesson. As I said before, it's really important that you have a laptop to access this content and to submit your work, so please get in contact if you have any questions or issues with access at all. So we're now going to take a moment to answer any questions. So if you bear with me 1 second, I'll just stop sharing my screen and I'll review some of the questions for a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to pass you over to Jeremy. I believe he's got a question ready to go.
Yeah, thank you, Steph. There was, Steph, someone who asked a question about whether we'll be able to share this video demonstration. And I'm guessing that we'll be doing that via the usual channels as a result of today. Yes. Yes, it'll be available on our website as soon as possible. Okay, yeah, thanks, Steph. So appreciate there's a lot to take in there when it comes to Microsoft Teams, but yes, please keep an eye on our website and we'll release a video of that demonstration from Steph as quickly as possible. We are shortly going to hand over, I'm going to hand back to Steph to introduce Andrew Wright to take us through his top tips in terms of mental health and well-being, which is really important, particularly at these times. I'm happy to answer a couple of questions in the meantime, so thank you very much to those of you that have posed them. There's a good question there about work experience. And just to be really clear, obviously a lot of our students here at Plumpton undertake work experience as a mandatory unit on their course, and some of them undertake extra work experience hours as part of what's called an industry placement. There isn't currently any clarification from our awarding bodies, BTEC and City and Guilds, as to a relaxation around the required hours for work experience. However, I believe it is only a matter of time before we receive that information. Again, as soon as we receive that information, we'll share it with you. My guess is that there will be a relaxation and students won't have to do quite so many hours as is stipulated in their programme handbook. Equally, if students are carrying on with the same course into next year, they'll be able to continue to build up their work experience hours next year as well. So that's okay. In terms of the college position regarding students doing work experience currently, our view is this: if their normal place of work experience employment is open and it's legal within the current restrictions for them to remain open, and you and your sons and daughters feel that it's a safe environment that is sticking to current safety protocols, then we are happy that our student continues with work experience. But that's your decision really, to be taken in conjunction with the employer. We're equally happy that you choose and your son or daughter chooses to not undertake your work experience placement in the current climate, and recognise, you know, some of the challenges with that. So there's certainly no expectation on our behalf that you must be doing your work experience now. And as I said, I expect that there'll be some relaxation of the requirements of the awarding bodies in terms of hours that we'll announce as soon as we know it. There's another question about routine duties. Again, a really good question. It's such an important part of all of our students' courses here, the practical component, and at the heart of the practical component are those routine duties that, you know, our equine and animal and agriculture and many other students do. Obviously, we're in a national lockdown, and that means that we have to shut for face-to-face activity to our students. That's our position until February half term. As soon as the government review that, we want to be open to students. We believe, just like we did in term one, that we have got a model in place that means we can open safely, but clearly the context is different in terms of what's happening around us, and therefore we have to take the lead from the government on this. As soon as the government says schools and colleges can open, we'll reintroduce all of those safety measures again and more, including our testing that, you know, we've put in place, and we'll accept students back into college again. It means that we'll be able to backload, if you like, or end load a lot of the practicals that students have been missing so far this term, and that very much includes routines and duties as well. So we'll be playing catch up, and hopefully we'll be in a position where we will be able to bring students in to college for more days so they can catch up with that practical and routine experience. And there's one final question, Steph, before I hand back to you, about extra maths sessions. And we have been putting on some extra small group maths and English sessions last term for students who have been resitting their English and Maths GCSE. And I'm really pleased to say that those that took the November resits did really well, many of whom are receiving that tuition. At the moment, we don't know whether there will be exams in the summer. Again, that's another consultation that the Department for Education has launched to decide how will English and Maths GCSE resit grades that should have been exams in the summer, how will they be decided? So that again is out there waiting for awarding bodies and colleges to give their feedback, and then we'll know more, I think, in 2 or 3 weeks. As soon as we do, we'll share that with you. In the meantime, all of the English and Maths lessons are virtual. So I can see, Sarah, you've asked that question. If you can leave us your contact details, I will ask our head of maths to get in contact with you directly, because those extra maths lessons should still be accessible virtually. I hope that's helpful. And I'm going to hand back to Steph to introduce Andrew Wright's video. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. I'd also like to take a quick moment just to say that if you do need a refresher in terms of any of that content or guidance for accessing Microsoft Teams, then please access the student induction page, which you can find on the student homepage on plumptononline.ac.uk. Or, as Jeremy said, the recording of this webinar will be published on our website, hopefully as soon as possible, so you'll be able to access that whenever you want to as well. And again, it's really important that students access those online lessons and those timetabled lessons, as Jeremy said. Obviously, we're waiting to hear about exams, so we want to make sure that our students are engaging with Microsoft Teams as a platform and recording their work online, as they should be, with their assessments and their portfolio as well. So if you bear with me 1 second, I'm just going to share you into some wellbeing information from Andrew Wright. Now again, it might just take a moment to appear on your screen, so I'll just take a moment to wait. Okay, you should be able to see that now. So I'd just like to go through a quick recap regarding our student wellbeing and safeguarding team. So as you can see on the slide, our student wellbeing and safeguarding team have so much to offer. They're here to support students. So they have a variety of different options here in terms of support, referrals, advice for mental health and emotional wellbeing, signposting as well for additional support services, and just daily tips in terms of wellbeing and particularly learning online. Again, there's more referrals and drop-ins, and we are really excited to say that we'll be launching a wellbeing podcast shortly as well. Again, the contact details for our safeguarding team is listed on the slide as well. As you can see, you can contact them using safeguarding@plumpton.ac.uk to email them directly, or you can contact them on WhatsApp between 9 and 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Also, I'm really excited to announce that soon, very soon, we'll be launching a new platform called Idea. Now, this is run through our Aspire and our Progress Coach department. This platform allows our students to develop their digital skills online and also to understand cybersecurity. Particularly at the moment with working online, it's really important that they develop their knowledge and their skills in this area. And there's also accreditation linked to these modules. Again, we'll be launching more information very soon. As always, if you have any direct questions regarding assignments, course criteria, lesson resources, or just any other general concerns, then students can contact their dedicated course tutors or progress coaches. So without further ado, I'd just like to share you into a really great summary video. This is part 1 of a series from Andrew Wright, really helping our students to understand how to engage in online learning, but also how to make sure that they are focusing on their well-being every day.
Hi everyone, welcome to this video all about how you can manage your learning at home in a productive way and also your well-being. My name's Andrew and I work at a company called Action Your Potential, and our mission is to help all our clients, all students, parents, carers, teachers, to get the most out of their brain every single day. So we use neuroscience psychology to explain the daily habits that we need to carry out to support our brain to build the best version of us, enabling us to have the best focus, memory, learning, etc. What's really important is to understand that our brain changes throughout our lives, and we're going to look at 2 aspects today. We're going to look at how to manage self-care during the course of the home learning day, and then how to manage our productivity and our learning. We need you, first of all, to understand that you are the asset in your life. We want you to be the best version of yourself every day, and that means taking self-care extremely seriously. Our brains don't remain the same every day. They change on the basis of how we use them. We need to carry out daily habits of well-being to support our brain. We need to carry out daily habits of learning to support our learning and progress every day. The first thing that you all need to know is that your nervous system is divided into 2 halves, and that determines your experience every day. That determines the quality of your memory, that determines the quality of your well-being, your emotions. Everything is dictated by your two nervous systems, your mood, your motivation, the activity level and response every single day. And that the brain and body and mind are connected through lots of areas of the brain, but particularly an area right in the middle of the brain called the hypothalamus, and you can see it there. Why am I mentioning all this stuff? Because it's really important. If you're going to learn and focus and remain attentive throughout the day, you're going to have to manage your brain and body. Otherwise, if you don't, you're going to lose focus and attention. The first thing to say is that physical and mental health are not separate. They're totally related. The body and the brain build the mind every day. So the quality of our experiences is partly down to what we've done every single day. And it's really important to build in active processes of self-care every day. So we've got 2 nervous systems, a react system that gets us ready for action called the sympathetic nervous system, and a response system which gets us ready to calm down, rest and reflect, and that's called the parasympathetic nervous system. And we need to live in a balanced way inside these nervous systems. 30% ready for action, 70% calm and focused, and you can see the balance of the day there. If we don't live in our nervous system in a balanced way, our daily well-being is massively impacted. Our feelings of hope, creativity, positivity, learning, progress and memory are massively affected. So what do you need to do? You need to do these 12 rocks of well-being every day. You need to build them in every day. There's a lot on the list, but you can absolutely get them all in, and we'll be looking a bit later on at how you can fit some of them in. So your nervous system has got two halves. It's got that parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system. And in this video, we're going to see the balance between those nervous systems.
Our nervous system has two parts, an alerting, activating, stressed out part, and a calming, relaxing, restoring part. Today, we're going to learn about activating the second part. When we feel unsafe, our nervous system has a way of getting activated to respond to threats. This is called the sympathetic nervous system. This leads to the physiological reaction that is the fight, flight, freeze response, and it gets our heart pounding and our muscles ready for a big fight. The body also has a system to calm down and restore peace after a stressful incident. This is called the parasympathetic nervous system. And I remember this because a para is like a parachute. It calms us down and slows down this reaction. Now, the part of our nervous system that we use the most becomes the strongest. So it's very important that we intentionally train our bodies and minds to have a more dominant parasympathetic response. Otherwise, we'll have a very unhealthy nervous system. So a healthy nervous system is able to use both parts of the nervous system, the activating response and the calming response. It can go through these cycles of waking up and performing a task, getting motivated or feeling worried and concerned about a situation. And it naturally also has the ability to calm down, relax, and resolve any problems. This gives the body a chance to heal and replenish its resources for upcoming performances. A healthy nervous system tends to spend more time in the calm state, so it tends to be dominated by the parasympathetic nervous system. An unhealthy nervous system sees threats everywhere. It gets stuck in an elevated state of stress, rarely going through cycles of calming and relaxing. The sympathetic nervous system takes over and you feel constantly anxious, worried, or worked up. Your body feels tight and tense. This leads to periodic exhaustion and crashing. People who are dominated by their sympathetic nervous system are often unaware of the high alert mode that their body is stuck in, but they do feel stressed out a lot of the time and exhausted the rest of the time. When the parasympathetic nervous system is dominant, we can face stressful situations with a calm resolve or a relaxed vigilance without freaking out our body. And when the parasympathetic nervous system is dominant, we're able to quickly restore our resources and replenish them through rest and relaxation. We have quite a bit of influence on which part of our nervous system is being activated, and we can train our nervous system to be dominated by the parasympathetic nervous system or to be dominated by calm by practicing various exercises, both psychological exercises and physiological exercises that help us restore calm in our body.
So in order to make sure we have a very balanced experience inside our nervous system, we need to do our rocks every day. We need to build a calm down toolbox. These are activities that will turn on our calm down system, our parasympathetic nervous system. So listening to music, walking outside, deep breathing, visualizing a restful scene. All of these things turn on the parasympathetic nervous system. Raising our attention, our focus, calming us down. After we've been working hard, it's really important to do that. So try to practice your 12 rocks every day. Turn on your brain's calm down system. Use a calm down toolbox to help you manage your negative stress. And then linked to that, let's look at learning habits. How can I have a good learning day every day? Your brain prefers habitual behaviors to effortful learning. So it's really important that if you are going to develop learning habits, that you carefully put them in different slots during the day. Why is online learning so hard? Well, you're sitting still for long periods of time. You've got reduced opportunities for social interaction, seeing your mates. You've got reduced cues in the environment to help learning, like your teacher's expression. You can put your hand up. You've got reduced time being outside. You've got more idle snacking. You've got more distractions, you know, tabs open, your phone, to trigger procrastination. So how can you help manage your time? Well, you need to plan your day around online learning, get outside, build in regular exercise, put your rocks in as well. Book time with other students in your lessons to discuss the content. And at the end of each day, try to summarize the learning that you've done during the day on flashcards. Be aware of what affects your mood, motivation, movement, food, and sleep. All of these things affect your mood. So it's really important to make sure that you have a balanced day.
Did you know that the way you eat, move, and sleep can actually impact your mood? There's a lot of information out there, and sometimes it can be hard to know how to make changes to improve your well-being. So we've reviewed trusted resources and worked with youth and other experts so that we can share some of the tips that we found useful. Eating. We know, we've all heard that we're supposed to be eating healthy, but what does that really mean? And how can you actually make this work for you? Start by visualizing your plate and think about the ways that you can get the nutrients you need. Something like this. If you're just starting to cook at home, give yourself a break because it can be a bit of a disaster. Thankfully, there are a lot of easy recipes online. Go down the YouTube rabbit hole and see what you can find. Don't worry, you don't have to give up all the foods you love. Even changing your habits a little bit can make a difference. And stay hydrated. Drink water when you're thirsty instead of sugary drinks. And try using a phone app to track how much water you're drinking to reach your goals. Movement. As important as regular exercise is for your physical health, it can also have mood-boosting powers. It's recommended to exercise 3 times a week for 45 to 60 minutes each time. And while that may seem daunting, there are simple ways that you can incorporate exercise into your life. You might have to try a few different things until you find one you actually enjoy. Keep in mind, the gym isn't the only place where you can exercise. Whatever works for you, as long as it gets your heart pumping. We might get so pumped about exercising and set unrealistic goals that leave us feeling down and defeated if we don't achieve them. Set reasonable expectations and be proud of yourself for your accomplishments, no matter how big or small. Scheduling time to work out and putting it in your phone might be a good way to hold yourself accountable. Sometimes people can have complicated relationships with food and exercise, or even experience challenges with an eating disorder. These tips may not apply to you. If you want more support, talk to the people you trust or a doctor to find other ways that you can improve your well-being. Sleep. Have you ever had one of those nights where you just can't fall asleep no matter how many sheep you count, or you find yourself glued to your pillow all morning? You're not alone. Sleep is something that many people struggle with. While there's nothing better than sleeping in after a late night watching Netflix, it's best to try and wake up and go to sleep at the same times every day. Open your blinds as soon as you wake up in the morning. The natural light will tell your brain the day has started. And try not to regularly nap during the day. As good as that nap may feel, it'll rob you of your sleep later. Same thing with caffeine. We know it's nice to have a coffee to keep you going or a pop with dinner, but try to avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. It lasts in the body for a long time and blocks a chemical that your brain needs to sleep well. As your body gets ready for bed, it's important to create a routine to wind down for the night. Phones emit blue light, which may make it harder to fall asleep. Most phones have a blue light filter that you can switch on. Why not try it? It may help your brain to get ready for sleep and can be a cue to put your phone down for the night. Fill your routine with relaxing activities. Read a book, take a warm shower, or try meditating and make sure your room is dark. Whatever your routine is, use the same one every night. And on the nights where nothing seems to work, take some time to breathe. Remember, it takes time for new habits to stick. So give yourself a break and do what works best for you. Practicing these things together can have a positive impact on your mood.
Okay, that's the end of Andrew's small webinar, or kind of filming for this evening. As you saw flash up on the screen there, you know, this is available for you to access on plumpton.ac.uk on our website, along with a lot of other information about the work we have been doing and will continue to do with Andrew. We're delighted to work with him. And he provides, you know, a lot of support for staff and students across the college. As Steph said earlier, there's a new podcast series coming out from him soon. So please keep an eye on those social media channels and the website for more information of that and more videos in this series, as well as the 12 Rocks, which he referred to a number of times in that video. I'm sure if you Google it, certainly if you look on our website, you can find information about those 12 Rocks as well. So I'm happy to take any further questions. We're just encouraged that if any of you have anything else you'd like to ask, please tap them into the live event Q&A now. Otherwise, just a little bit of summing up from me, if you like, whilst you might be doing so. Our next edition of our parents newsletter is due out next week, and so we will be reinforcing and reaffirming some of what I've shared and Steph has shared tonight, as well as a whole load of other information with you then in relation to work experience, returning to college, accessing your virtual lessons, all of those different support mechanisms that we have here in college, be that safeguarding and mental health, be that you know, having time on a one-to-one with your progress coach. So please watch out for that in your inboxes and your clutter or junk boxes as well next week. Please also keep an eye out on our website for regular updates and social media channels regarding opening. As I've said, as soon as we know of any change in circumstances regarding opening the college back up to students, we'll communicate that with you as quickly as we possibly can. I hope that we will have students here at some point next half term, and you know, the sooner the better as far as we're all concerned, and I'm sure you and I know our students would echo that as well. But in the meantime, please do keep supporting them and encouraging them to access all of their virtual lessons. We're continuing to work really hard to ensure that we're delivering as good an online learning experience for our students as possible. And yeah, we look forward to seeing them back here at college soon. If you have any questions at all about any aspects of college, please do get in touch. I think another one has just been asked. Perfect. In terms of parents' evening, that was going to be my final message. When it comes to your sons and daughters' progress, we have parents' evening during the week of the 8th of February. So there'll be a little bit of information about that in next week's newsletter, and most importantly, on Monday, the 1st of February, you will all receive an invite to book onto a meeting with your son or daughter's personal tutor or progress coach, where you'll be able to talk about their progress this year and their targets for the remainder of the year. So thank you, Jim. Well-timed question and the perfect opportunity to talk to the people that really have the best holistic view as to how your son or daughter are progressing this year. Before I sign off, Steph, was there anything else you wanted to answer?
There was just one more question regarding the recording of today's session. So yeah, that'll be hosted on our main homepage, I believe, on the college website, but also, as Jeremy said, it'll be linked in the parents newsletter and also posted on our social media.
Thank you, Steph. So I think then, if that concludes the questions, hopefully you found this evening helpful and informative. Please continue to work with us. Let's all keep those communication channels open. Don't ever hesitate to get in touch with me or any of the team here. We all want the same thing, and that's for our students to be, you know, happy and successful. And we look forward to seeing you and them hopefully here soon, but if not, we'll continue to see them virtually, and hopefully as many of you as possible at that parents' evening. Many thanks, stay safe and best wishes to you all. Thank you.